Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa. Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa and Internet world. Welcome in. This is the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. I am Joe Gaither. I'm proud to be with you on this beautiful Friday. You guys are watching me on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. You're probably listening to me on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, and on Amazon Podcast. Really, wherever you get your podcast. We are a proud partner of BamaCentral.com. We love BamaCentral.com. It is the Sports Illustrated home of all things Crimson Tide. We want to encourage you guys to listen to our other Bama Central podcast. We got our friends and brothers and sisters, All Things Bama, with Katie Wyndham and Austin Hannon. They're going to be putting out a new episode fairly soon. And then we also have Blue Collar Unplugged with Blake Byler, Matthew Gibson, and Jacob Pickle. Jacob Pickle, the president of... the president of the NATO. It's March Madness. It's the old March Madness, Crimson Chaos. That's what it is. Crimson Chaos. Excuse me. The old March Madness, Mark Gottfried. The Crimson Chaos. Jacob Pickle is the new president of Crimson Chaos. So if you want really that inside student perspective, Blue Collar Unplugged is really a great place to check that out. Always all things basketball and all things Alabama basketball. Jacob Pickle pretty plugged in. Blake Byler, a great basketball mind, and Matthew Gibson right there with him. So check out those episodes of Blue Collar Unplugged and all things Bama on the Bama Central Broadcasting Network. As we said, I'm Joe Gaither. This is the Joe Gaither Show, and let's get this bad boy rolling today. First off, we want to go back and thank our guests this week. We had two great guests this week. We had Caden Jones, linebacker out of Arden, North Carolina. A ton of people watched that, and I want to thank everybody who checked that out and watched that. Amazing response to that, and I am truly grateful. Thank you, Lord, for everybody who got to check that out. If you didn't see it, you can watch it on YouTube. Still up on my Facebook and on my Twitter. It's on Bama Central's YouTube channel, the same channel you're looking at this program. And then you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon as well. So, and yesterday we heard from Giles Amos. Giles Amos, former Alabama tight end, still playing tight end in Mexico, Professional Mexico League, CDMX. Incredible. Rojo CDMX. And so it's great to hear from Giles Amos yesterday on the program. Really, he talked about his whole Alabama career, and he talked about his time playing at Arkansas State. Remember, he transferred out after graduating. He did graduate. Don't hold that against him. And so many people coming in the comments, oh, you don't want to work. No, he graduated. He did his duty at the capstone, and then went to Arkansas State, had a good year with the Red Wolves, and now is still playing incredibly in Mexico, CDMX. So really, really impressed and happy to hear from Giles Amos yesterday. So if you missed that yesterday, you can watch that again on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and listen to it on all the podcast playbacks. So what will we do today? It's Friday. We are going an hour early. Obviously, some of you guys are noticing that. I see a couple of you guys watching live. We appreciate you. I love you very, very much. It's Friday. We're going early. We're going to go at noon on Fridays going forward, just to accommodate the staff meeting. I want to make sure that I am present and accounted for with our Bama Central friends as we recap the week and head back into head into the weekend. No, it's only going to be on Fridays, Julian. Only on Fridays at noon, so that I can make a 1 o'clock meeting. Everything else is still going to be at 1. All right, so what are we going to do today? Let's talk. Look, no guest, obviously. Let's have an interesting conversation. Summer shows are always weird. First off, let's talk about it. Yesterday, oh my gosh, I'm watching on ESPN at 8 p.m., 8 o'clock, prime time. It's time to watch some sports, time to wind down. What is on the ESPN family of networks? Pickleball. Pickleball World Knife Throwing Championships and UFC promos. All right, first, I do like UFC, but I don't need the promo. I know who's fighting this weekend. I don't need to watch the 30-minute backstory biography. But World Knife Throwing and Pickleball, is that the world we're in right now, ESPN? Awful. So let's get creative today. And talk about the Alabama offensive line. We all love Alabama football, so that seems like a great place to start. And I believe that Alabama's biggest question mark on offense is not who plays quarterback this year. I think the biggest question mark on offense is who is going to play left tackle and will they play it effectively? Will it be, I mean, really, you look at the offensive line and you kind of put it in the same concept, the same framing as Nick Saban. No. What is pickleball? Pickleball is like tennis, Miss Julene. It's like tennis, but it's on a smaller court. It's like if you took ping pong and you took tennis and you found a middle ground, it's like that. It looks like tennis, but on a smaller court. Yes, pickleball, like the veggie, but it's a ball. It's like a tennis ball, but it doesn't bounce as far, and the court is much smaller. But it's not a professional sport. It's not anything that there's any stars for. Miss Julian chiming in on the Facebook comments, asking what pickleball was, and you can chime in on the Facebook comments anytime, and we will address you guys. And we appreciate everybody who's watching and listening on the live, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Absolutely. But yeah, as I said, I don't think the biggest question mark that's coming up here is who's going to play quarterback. I think Alabama has at least three competent quarterbacks, three quarterbacks who can win games for the Alabama Crimson Tide. The biggest issue, I think, is the offensive line. And really, you go back in the context of the spring. Go back in the context of spring and you said, oh, this is Nick Saban's most important offseason ever. This is Nick Saban's most important offseason in his time in Tuscaloosa. We remember you lost Pete Golding. You lost Bill O'Brien. You guys can argue whether those are good or bad things. I'd probably say a little bit good. But really, you move on from Bill O'Brien and Pete Golding. You lose Bryce Young and you lose Will Anderson. That's obviously a negative. Come on now. And you lose Jordan Battle. You lose Henry To'oTo'o. You lose leadership at all three levels of your defense. But you also lost a lot on your offensive line. I know a lot of people maybe were upset or not very happy with the production of the offensive line really over the last 3 years, 2 years especially, but really over the last 3 years. Last year better than 2 years ago, 21. Well, 21 was not good offensive line-wise. You can just ask Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson ran his tail off behind that 2021 offensive line. He was meeting tacklers in the backfield all the time. People were maybe getting onto Brian Robinson's case for not breaking away, but goodness gracious. The 21 offensive line was not very good that was Doug Marrone. Doug Marrone was the offensive line coach at that point. So you got rid of Doug Marrone and you brought in Eric Wolford. And now you're on the second year of Eric Wolford. What else did you lose? You lost Tyler Steen, starting left tackle, to the Philadelphia Eagles, drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles, probably going to make the roster and find his way into a starting position for the Philadelphia Eagles. You lost Emil Ekiyor, who I expected to have a better year last year. I did. I'll be honest. I thought he was going to work his way into a top 3-round draft pick, and he did not. No, he was constantly substituted with Tyler Booker and with Elijah Pritchett. He was constantly substituted in and out of the lineup last year, and ultimately ends up being an undrafted free agent with the Indianapolis Colts. I think he'll probably make the roster right there. He's a good player. And Kendall Randolph, you lost Kendall Randolph. He's now an undrafted free agent to the Seattle Seahawks. Some people say maybe that's not a loss. Kendall Randolph, I really appreciate all the time you worked at Alabama, but maybe never really had a true positional fit. Never really was a real left tackle, couldn't get big enough for that, and never really was a tight end. Now, we heard Giles Amos yesterday talking about the blocking tight end, and he fulfilled that role very well. He fulfilled that sixth offensive lineman very, very well. But, I'm not really sure that when you lose these guys, you look at Tyler Steen, Emil Ekiyor, and Kendall Randolph, and you say, is that really a loss? Is that really a negative for Alabama? Nah, I mean, of course, you lose experience. It's going to be a loss. But I think you have an opportunity to retool this offensive line, to reshape this offensive line. And I think that really it's going to be a position of strength for this coming up season. Look, you have Eric Wolford coming into his second year. And look, I'm going to just go right from right to left. My projections. Well, first I'm going to read ourlads, ourlads.com. If you don't look at ourlads.com ever, it's Dan Shanka's website. And I love it. Ourlads.com, OURLADS. And really all I do is type in Ourlads, Alabama, Ourlads, Georgia, Ourlads, Chicago Bears, and I pull up depth charts, and really they do a great job organizing what will be the Alabama Crimson Tide team. Now, right now, it's all projections. Once it gets into the season, the website will update and edit itself. Basically, their back end will edit itself and rework the depth charts for who the real starters are. But Arlads does a great job, I think, projecting depth charts and looking ahead, especially in the offseason, especially when you don't know what's going to happen. You've had some turnover, you've had some movement. And here's Arlad's right to left offensive line. I think he's close. I think Dan Shanka is close. From right side, obviously, right tackle, J.C. Latham holds on to his starting position, second year in a row. Right guard, Tyler Booker. He's got center, Seth McLaughlin. He's got left guard Darian Dalcourt, and he's got left guard Elijah Pritchett. Now, all right, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. When you look at my offensive line, I think it's going to be very, very similar. I have it left to right: J.C. Latham, Tyler Booker, Seth McLaughlin, Darren Dalcourt, and then Caden Proctor. I think the true freshman Caden Proctor is going to follow in the footsteps of a Cam Robinson, follow in the footsteps of a DJ Fluker, follow in the footsteps of these big-time left tackles that Alabama has really gone out over the course of Nick Saban's tenure and found first-round draft picks. Started right away, get right on the field. We know Alex Leatherwood. It took him a while to get onto the field. Finally, he gets into the fold at guard and then kicked out to tackle. And so, look, I think Caden Proctor is that next big tackle for Alabama. Number one recruit out of the state of Iowa, was going to go to Iowa for a long, long time, flipped to Alabama late in the process last year. The dude is massive. Caden Proctor is, I think, really going to be a superstar in the making for Alabama. He's listed on the roster at 6'7", 355 pounds. 355 pounds, 6'7". Okay, I'm right at 5'10". Let's be honest. I'm not super tall. I'm not super short. I'm right there in the average. 6'7". This man makes me look like a dwarf. This man makes me look like a midget. Yes, I've been losing a little bit of weight, but this man makes me look tiny. 6'7", 355 pounds, and he is a true freshman, 18, 19 years old. I think when you roll out against the MTSU Blue Raiders, September 2nd, I think we're 56 days away. Let me find out. Let's see, countdown till September 2nd is 57 days away. 57 days away until Alabama kicks it off against MTSU. I think Caden Proctor is going to be your starting left tackle. I do. I think that you need to get him out there early, because you get him some experience, get him some reps with against the Blue Raiders, because look, Texas is coming to town with a man's man defensive line coming the next week. I really like what you have with this offensive line. Okay, my man Wyatt Fulton chimes in. Thoughts on Pritchett and Booker as full-time starters with the offensive line. Look, I think Booker is going to be, you can pencil in Booker in ink. I think you hear a lot of love out of Tyler Booker because of his aggression, his strength. I think Tyler Booker brings, look, what you've been missing from this offensive line into this year's fold. Doug Marrone, no disrespect, I don't know how much energy you really had. I heard stories about Doug Marrone just getting out there yelling at the guys, not giving much instruction. I don't know how motivating that is. I think Eric Wolford, I've heard stories that he is very technical, very technically driven. And yes, a yeller, yes, a motivator. But hey, man, you need to step here, push your hands there, put your movements there. And look, if you don't realize what's going on in the offensive line, it is, look, you think, quarterback's the hardest position, defensive back's the hardest position, corner, offensive line, because you literally have to be in simpatico with your other five guys. You have to be in really instant lockstep with your other five guys. Yes, I can, look, if I was 6'7", 355 pounds, and you line me up against any Joe Schmo, I can block him off the ball. Sure, no problem. The question is working together. The question is moving the defense together, opening the hole at the right time together, designing the play. And it's not easy. I think you get Caden Proctor in there and really start to work him and get him assimilated with this offensive line. You talk about Tyler Booker, Wyatt Fulton, and I think he is. Look, what you've been missing from this offensive line is you've been missing attitude. You've been missing offensive linemen who don't like to shower, offensive linemen who want to eat nails for breakfast. That's what we want to see. We want to see offensive linemen. Who was it? It was DJ Fluker, wasn't it? It was DJ Fluker against Georgia, or was it Alex Leatherwood? We had we had a tackle. Yeah, it was DJ Fluker, wasn't it? Against Georgia, you're running the football, and you're just getting all into them. I think this was a 2000. Golly, all the offensive linemen look together, but you just need the offensive line to ask for the responsibility. Put the onus on us. You're starting a new quarterback. Let us drive the offense. Let us be the engine that drives the offense. Look right there in the middle. Seth McLaughlin, experience. Darren Dalcourt, experience. And then Tyler Booker, second year of experience with the attitude. I think your middle, your interior core is going to be very, very strong. And then you got J.C. Latham, experience. J.C., I think, really last year started to ascend into a leadership role. And I think this year you're going to really see him grasp that leadership role because he is the big boss dog on the offensive line. He's the oldest one outside of McLaughlin. He's played the most. I know McLaughlin's played a lot, but he's played the most. I think JC's going to turn into being a guy that you really, a war daddy kind of a guy. I know that's often reserved for defensive lines or defenders, but I think J.C. Latham is going to be an incredible addition to this offensive line, or an incredible member of this offensive line. Look, you go through, I like what you see with the offensive line because after you go through the first five, as I said, my first five is going to be J.C. Latham, Tyler Booker, Seth McLaughlin, Darren Dalcourt, and then Caden Proctor from right to left. You look for after the first five, there's still a lot to like behind it. Let's say, God forbid you have an injury. God forbid you have an injury. Let's say you have an injury or a suspension or just something off the wall, something unaccounted for. You've got a lot of depth in this offensive line room. You see that out of the 2023 recruiting class that Alabama pulled in. Look across the freshmen that you're looking at. Wilkin Thornby, Caden Proctor, Rock Montgomery, Alasa Lennon, Miles McVay. You bring in a huge offensive line class in 2023. And I kind of believe, look, I already told you, Caden Proctor, I think you're going to pencil him in as a starter. I'm really excited about Miles McVay. I think Rock Montgomery and Alasa Lennon and Wilkin Thornby will take some time to develop and take some time to grow. But I think you have really hit on character guys who have great frames, who want to play the position of offensive line. Want to get nasty. I think Seth McLaughlin is one of those nasty boys as well. Look, Seth McLaughlin, I think a lot of people get stuck on looking at his little profile picture, the smiley boy. He kind of looks like just a pudgy, happy fella. But I think that you've seen Seth McLaughlin utilize his size. I mean, yes, he's a little undersized center, but man, his technique, his height, his hips his hips after the snap, I think is what you're going to see, is the reason you're going to see Darren Dalcourt playing left guard. You're not going to see Darren Dalcourt taking snaps. But look, if McLaughlin goes down or if McLaughlin ends up getting run over or getting outmatched, there's a lot of options that you can do. You can bump Darren Dalcourt into the center position, and then you can bump Elijah Pruitt down into the left guard position, keep Caden Proctor at left tackle. Look, you want to do that? Cool. Or you'll have James Brockermeyer backing up the center position as well. You've got a lot of offensive line options for this with this Alabama team. That's probably my only concern. Last year, I felt like when I was watching Alabama throughout the entire year, I thought throughout the entire year, Alabama was experimenting because you saw Emil Ekiyor going in, going out. You saw Tyler Booker going in, going out. Obviously, I think Elijah Pritchett was dealing with a pectoral injury at the beginning of the season, but you saw lots of rotation happening on the offensive line. Kendall Randolph going in, going out. And so I felt like last year's offensive line was always experimenting, looking for the right five, looking for the group that's going to drive the offensive line, or drive the Alabama offense. Now, here's something that will blow your mind. If I told you last year the Alabama offense passed the ball at a 51% clip, would you believe me? Would you not? Well, it's true. Alabama passed the ball at a 51% clip. I mean, a lot of people, you talk about run-to-pass ratio. Last year's offense really was driven by Bryce Young. Look, we all know that Bryce is the man, and we were looking for more production out of the wide receivers. We were looking for more help out of the offensive line. We were. This year, I think you're going to get back to, oh, goodness gracious. Turn your phone off, Joe. I think you're going to have that flipped a little bit more. I think you're going to see the Alabama fans get happier as it's probably going to be 55-45 run to pass. And I think it starts with the offensive line. I'm really excited about this line, mainly because I think I'm really excited to see Eric Wolford work together with Tommy Reese. I really think the play-action passing game is going to be absolutely deadly. And I think you're going to see a lot of people get lulled into, okay, sucking guys into the box, sucking guys to the box. They don't have a quarterback. He can't make a play, blah, blah, blah. Because I think it's going to be Jalen Milroe to get going. And, he can't throw the football. I think you're going to suck a lot of guys into the box to stop the quarterback run, to stop Jace McClellan, to stop Roydell Williams, Justice Haynes, and Richard Young. By the way, Richard Young, congratulations. Academic Athlete of the Week for Alabama football. Great job. I think you're going to see a lot of guys pull into the box. But what's going to happen is you're going to get the play-action game really rolling, really going. I think Malik Benson over the top is going to be extremely deadly. I think I've already said that. I think he's going to match Jameson Williams' yards per catch because I think he's going to be that deadly. Now, I don't know if he's going to be utilized as often as Jameson Williams was, but I think that, hey, man, when we need a big play, when we need to hit a bomb, it's going to be Malik Benson. So, look, I'm excited about the offensive line. I'm really, you're on a little bit of a trend where the last couple of years have not been good. Last year was better than 21. 20 was obviously amazing. You go to the national championship game and dominate Ohio State. 21, not so good. You were turning over a lot from 20. You're still kind of turning over a lot from 21 into last year. I think you're really starting to build a foundation, or really starting to gain a foundation. Look across the depth chart of the offensive line. You see freshman, sophomore. You see a lot of youth in the offensive line with select leadership, with select seniority. J.C. Latham being one of the elder statesmen, along with Seth McLaughlin and Darian Dalcourt. You see McLaughlin, Dalcourt, and Latham being the old guys, leading a lot of the freshmen, sophomore, all over the place. And I think that will trickle down, and really have a strong effect on the offensive line. And look, everybody's focused on who's going to play quarterback. And rightfully so. But I think that really once you get the five guys up front settled, once you get these five guys are going to be our guys, and they start to understand how to play together, they start to really gain that chemistry, that 5 fingers, 1 fist, 5 fingers, 1 fist, big punch. Everybody works together. Alabama offense is going to be rolling. I'm really excited about this Alabama offense. I think a lot of people are probably concerned that Alabama's not going to be as effective offensively this year. Maybe you're not going to see as many big plays. But come on, it's Bryce Young versus you lose Bryce Young and you're replacing. Of course, you're not going to see as many big plays. You might see the same big plays, just in different styles. I think you're going to see a lot more home runs. I think you're going to see a lot more long passes over the top. I'm really looking forward to seeing Tommy Rees's offense. And it all starts with the offensive line. Let's not forget that that's where every play starts. Everything starts in the trenches. You want to have Jalen Milroe be successful. You want to have Ty Simpson, Tyler Buckner, Eli Holstein, or Dylan Lonergan have some success. You keep the defense out of their lap. Give them some space to work. Give them some time to work. Give them some time to read, to decide. Slow the game down by having an effective offensive line. All right, so that's my thoughts on the offensive line. You can chime in on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, at Joe Gaither6, on anything that you want to see. Follow me at Joe Gaither6. Tell a friend about the program. We've had a great week so far of listenership, and I really appreciate everybody, all the new listeners who have checked us out on BamaCentral.com. Read BamaCentral. It's the Sports Illustrated home for all things Crimson Tide. Look, we got a great team. Austin Hannon, Katie Wyndham, Chris Walsh, everybody working hard. Blake Byler, Matthew Gibson, Edwin Stanton, everybody working hard to bring you all things Alabama Crimson Tide. So check out BamaCentral.com today. All right, so I got 2 more topics because it's a Friday. It's the summer. I've got 2 more topics that I want to get into for the day. First, you want to stay football first or basketball? Football. We'll keep it on the football stuff, and then we'll go into basketball. Football news, small football news. Yesterday, it was announced that, the Gump father, we love you, Mark Ingram. Forever may you reign. Heisman Trophy winner, the original Heisman Trophy winner, the bronze statue. Mark Ingram is retiring from the NFL. Congratulations, Mark. Unbelievable career. 12 years in the NFL. After 3 amazing seasons at the capstone. I'm getting chill bumps thinking about it. I really am. I'm not. This is not hyperbole at all. I'm getting chill bumps thinking about Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram, golly, the Gump father indeed. People talk about, he didn't deserve to win the 2009 national championship or the 2009 Heisman Trophy because they were just looking to give it to best player on the best team. Mark Ingram was the heart and soul of the 2009 team. I mean, yes, you have the offensive line really was amazing. The defense was incredible as well. But Mark Ingram just putting the team on his back whenever Alabama needed it. You think about the screenplay against Florida. You think about the national championship run against Texas, falling into the end zone, giving the point up to the sky. You think about Mark Ingram crying, getting his Heisman Trophy. That's what I do. I think about how much that meant to me as a student still at the capstone to see. Oh my gosh, one of my peers getting honored as the best in the nation. And now you've had 3 more Heisman trophies after that with Derrick Henry, Devontae Smith, and Bryce Young, and now it's kind of old hat. But man, what a career for Mark Ingram. Congratulations. You end up with what? The Saints for a handful of years, the Texans as well. What's Mark Ingram going to do? He's leaving football, sort of. He's leaving active football to go to Big Noon Sports, Fox Sports. He's going behind the desk. And if you know anything about Mark Ingram, and I'm sure if you're watching the program, you do know a lot about Mark Ingram. You know he's going to be great behind the desk. He's going to be excellent, really analyzing football. He's going to bring a lot of energy to that show. He's going to bring a lot of excitement to Big Noon Sports. My only kind of like, oh man, my only detraction is, look, he's going to be doing a lot of Big 10. He's going to be doing a lot of Big 12. Mark Ingram needs to be covering the SEC. Y'all got to get him on SEC Network. Come on, y'all. I know that Roman Harper is pretty much holding down the Alabama SEC spot right now on the SEC Network. But come on, Mark Ingram doesn't need to be covering the Big 10, doesn't need to be covering the Big 12 or the Pac-12 like he's going to be doing for Fox. Got to get him on the SEC. Got to bring him into the covering the SEC. And I'm sure that after a couple of years, he's probably going to find his way onto a bigger network, into a bigger role. Mark's great. He did a great job with Crimson Tide Sports Network. I think last year he did a little bit with Crimson Tide Sports Network as the guys were as they were kind of rotating the sideline spot throughout the whole year. They rotated the sideline spot because Rashad Johnson got himself a coaching job, and so they found a lot of different sideline guys. They saw Christian Miller, my friend Christian Miller, Mark Ingram, and Corey Reamer pretty much rotate that sideline spot. So congratulations, Mark Ingram. What a career. What a career, what a time, what a great, cannot think of any better ambassador for the University of Alabama than Mark Ingram, honestly. And for Nick Saban to have a player like that right there in his first part of his tenure. I know a lot of people talk about Julio Jones, and Julio gets a lot of credit, as he should. But Mark really just the lifeblood, I think, and really, the father of the Nick Saban running back. Yes, Glenn Coffey was already here and had a great year in 2008, but really, Mark Ingram began Nick Saban's going to go out and recruit a big time running back and turn them into superstars and put them into the NFL, and you've seen that over 15, 16 years, and you're going to see that again this coming up season. All right, last topic for the day, and I really appreciate everybody listening and watching us on all the various platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon as well. Find us, The Joe Gaither Show, on BamaCentral. Look, last topic, and it's on Brandon Miller. We've talked about Brandon Miller. We hit him on Wednesday. We talked about his summer league debut. It was not good. Oh, well, it was meh. The second game on Wednesday was actually not good. The second game on Wednesday was pretty rough. And the NBA fans, the NBA circles are starting to question and get on to Brandon Miller. I'm going to repeat exactly what I said on Wednesday. Don't worry about it. It's summer league. It's no big deal. First off, look, he's playing a little bit out of position. He's playing a little bit out of position in summer league because he's one of the only players on the Charlotte team that's actually any good. He's playing with a bunch of scrubs who will not make the NBA roster. He's playing exhibition. Now, look, let's go over it. And in 2 games, Brandon Miller's racked up 15 personal fouls. You get 10 fouls a game, so he's almost fouled out both games. 15 personal fouls. He's scored 24 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 turnovers, and he was only 6 points on Wednesday night. Now, go back to the very beginning of the show. We hit on how ESPN had terrible programming last night. You had nothing to watch. You had bleeping pickleball. You had knife throwing championships, and biographies on Ultimate Fighting. Tonight, you're going to have better options. You're going to be able to see Brandon Miller. And I'm going to be watching Brandon Miller. I encourage you guys to watch him as well. 8 o'clock on ESPN. 8 o'clock on ESPN, right there on the mothership. He's going to be playing against Victor Wembanyama, the number 1 overall pick. Victor Wembanyama is making his Summer League debut. He's kind of sat out the first couple of games, getting his legs under him, kind of getting used to everything. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama is the major superstar. But you're going to be able to see Brandon Miller tonight, again, his 3rd Summer League game against Victor Wembanyama. So a lot of eyes are going to be on the game. Look, I think Brandon is a little bit getting used to the NBA speed, and that's part of it. That's part of being a rookie. I think that Brandon Miller is playing with a lot of guys who he will never play with again. Look, LaMelo Ball is not out there. He's going to be the court, the spacing on the court, the opportunities for Brandon Miller will look a lot different when he's playing with Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball. I mean, it's simple. It's simple. The defenses are focusing on Brandon Miller because he's the only player out there for the Celtics or for the Hornets. Yes, they got Nick Smith Jr., and he's a good little player. He obviously fell a first-round pick. But I am not worried about Brandon Miller's Summer League performance. You're going to have to Brandon Miller's going to have an arm fall off for me to worry about his Summer League performance, for me to worry about what he is going to be as a professional. Look, let's all put it into context. The Charlotte Hornets are a bad franchise. Period. They're a bad franchise. They've been a bad franchise my entire life, honestly. My entire life, they've been a bad franchise. And so to expect Brandon Miller to walk right in and to have success is, I think, a little bit foolish. I think a little bit I think a little bit expecting too much from the young man. He's not going to go in there and turn him into the Miami Heat, turn him into the Golden State Warriors, turn him into the reputation of a winning franchise. It's going to take some time. And you cannot judge the man off 2 Summer League performances when he's playing with a bunch of scrubs who literally, the GMs are just out there trying to see who do we like? Who do we want to keep on our G League roster? Who do we want to offer 2-way contracts to? He's literally out there playing pickup ball. I mean, it's a little bit more than pickup ball. It is. I'll be honest. That's hyperbole. But look, Brandon Miller's, the shot's going to come. So today, I'm going to leave early. I'm going out. We're doing the show early. I said I was doing it at noon so I can get to a staff meeting at 1 o'clock. I lied. I'm flying out to Las Vegas to watch Brandon Miller versus Victor Wembanyama out there, UNLV, 8 o'clock on ESPN. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be watching it on the social medias, and I'm going to be, look, do I want Brandon to play well, to hush everybody up? Yes, I do. I want Brandon Miller to go off for, 35 tonight, 35, 10, and 10. That'd be amazing. The fact of the matter is he's not going to do that. The fact of the matter, he's not going to get the opportunities to do that because he's playing with a bunch of bums. Charlotte's roster, let me just pull this real quick. Charlotte's roster already through right here, Brad. Through Summer League, you've got Brandon Miller and Nick Smith Jr. as we've outlined, obviously. McGowan's, Jones, Caden Jones, JD Bouknight. Look, none of these names are going to make the NBA. None of these names are going to be in the league. And so I think, look, it's going to be just fine for Brandon Miller. It's going to be A-okay for Brandon Miller. Give him some time. Give him some patience. What you're seeing right now is the gotcha culture. What you're seeing right now is the social media culture of, hey, man, as soon as we can react to something, as soon as we can call somebody a bum, as soon as we can call somebody trash, we're going to do it. Because, honestly, let's be honest, a lot of people are unhappy with their own lives, so they can get off on, calling other people a bum. A lot of people are unhappy with their own performances, their own standing. So, hey, man, he stinks. He's overrated, and people still believe. I think a lot of people still believe that Brandon Miller was more involved in the Jamea Harris case than not. So he gets a lot of criticism for that. So look, Brandon's going to be just fine. You wait till he gets out there. Wait till he gets out there in real NBA action with LaMelo Ball, with Terry Rozier, with real NBA players. Do I think the Charlotte Hornets are going to be playoff bound? No, I don't. The Charlotte Hornets are going to be bad for until they get another piece or two. Brandon helps. Brandon absolutely helps. But the Hornets are not going to be a good franchise until they actually get more pieces, depth up front, depth in the backcourt. And Brandon will help, but all this hate is undue, and all this hate is really just people. I think people just bored. People just bored and That's what it comes down to. Oh, we're going to jump on social media and say, I told you this kid stinks. I told you this kid's no good. Oh, look, I told you we should have drafted Scoot Henderson. That's what it's all about. A lot of Charlotte Hornets fans wanted Scoot Henderson, but I think at the end of the day, they're going to be happy when they have Brandon Miller. Just give him a little bit of time. Just give him a little bit of time. That's all you need. All right, so look, that's all my notes for the day. That's all my notes for the day. We'll go back over them real quick. We talked about the offensive line. We predicted Alabama starting 5. I'm going to go with right to left: J.C. Latham, Tyler Booker, Seth McLaughlin, Darren Dalcourt, and Caden Proctor. I think you're going to have a lot of help. Caden Proctor's going to be able to lean on Dalcourt right next to him and lean on McLaughlin down in the center position. I'm really excited about the Alabama offensive line. I think that you've really shaped up great depth in the offensive line room, and I think Eric Wolford is going to get the most out of this group. I think Tommy Rees is going to enable this group to excel. Because you're going to play not a lot less, but you're going to play less RPO. You're going to have a lot more called run action. So I'm excited about the physicality returning to the Alabama offensive line, and I think you're going to see the running backs really, really, really benefit because of the physicality. And I think whoever's playing quarterback, whether it's Milroe, whether it's Simpson, whether it's Lonergan, whether it's Buckner, whether it's Holstein, any of them are going to really be able to play well because of the style and scheme that Tommy Rees plays, along with the performance and execution that the offensive line brings. All right, so we hit on the offensive line. We basically set up all of our starting 5 offensive line and kind of gave our thoughts on what the season will be. We talked about Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram retiring. Oh, the Gump Father, we love you. I appreciate you. What would Alabama be without you? And that's something I don't want to consider. I'm sure very successful still with Nick Saban, but Mark Ingram, I give you lots and lots of credit. Love you, sir. Congratulations on your retirement and on your new job with Big Noon Sports. And then we hit on Brandon Miller. He's playing against Victor Wembanyama tonight, 8 p.m. on ESPN, the mothership. He's kind of struggled. Let's be honest. He struggled through his first 2 games in Summer League, but tonight you're going to be able to see him against the number 1 overall pick. I think maybe the focus being shifted from Brandon to Victor might help him a little bit. You're going to see a lot of people. The pressure's on Victor tonight to play well. You had maybe the social media machine get on Victor Wembanyama for a shoot around right after the draft not going well. People are just going to get on anything that they can because, look, I can't dunk a basketball, so I might as well talk junk about a guy who can. I can dunk on an 8-foot goal. Oh, that's fun. But I can't dunk on a 10-foot goal, so I might as well talk junk about somebody who can. I can't shoot 40% from 3, so I might as well get on somebody's case who can. So Victor, I think the pressure shifts to Victor Wembanyama tonight on ESPN. The Charlotte Hornets and San Antonio Spurs are going to be playing, so you're going to be wanting to watch that because, look, there ain't nothing else to watch right now. Terrible sports programming time in terrible sports programming just on the calendar year or where we are on the calendar. So that's going to do it for our program today. I want to encourage you or remind you or ask you to listen to us on Monday. I'm going to be joined by Julian Sayin. Yes, that Julian Sayin, 5-star quarterback out of Carlsbad, California. Julian Sayin joins me on Monday to continue our recruiting series. We have talked to Caden Jones. We've talked to Sterling Dixon, 2 Alabama commits already. We've talked to 2 prospects. Will William Sanders commit to the Tide in a couple of weeks. We talked to him already. We've talked to Amari Jefferson, wide receiver out of Chattanooga. So on Monday, we're going to talk to Julian Sayin out of Carlsbad, California, the 5-star quarterback who just won Elite 11. Will he come into Tuscaloosa and take over the quarterback room? Will he have to sit behind Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson? We don't know. We're going to get to know Julian Sayin on Monday, and I encourage you guys to listen to it. It'll be at 1 p.m., our normal time, 1 p.m. on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, right there on the social medias. And then we will also obviously be posting about it on BamaCentral.com, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on Amazon as well. So that's going to be on Monday. I think I might have Jameer Grimsley as well. I've gotten a lot of good news from the recruits, Jameer Grimsley, Joseph Ionetta, two of the newest members of Alabama's class. We hopefully going to catch up with them as well. So I'm excited. I got a contact for Isaiah Fega. So look, we're going to try. It is my goal to get every single Alabama commit on the show. Whether we do that or not remains to be seen. You're dealing with summer schedules. You're dealing with 18, 19-year-old guys. And you're dealing with guys. Some guys want to talk to the media. Some guys don't. And that's just who they are. And that is A-OK. We will do our best to bring you all of the Alabama recruits that we can on the program right here on BamaCentral.com. So I hope you have a great weekend. It's been a weird week, but a fun week. I know a lot of people were off on Tuesday, back at it on Wednesday. It was a weird week, but it was a great week. I really appreciate everybody watching us on the YouTube. You can watch Giles Amos or Caden Jones, the Tuesday or Thursday program right here on YouTube, and obviously on Spotify, everywhere else that you got us. We've already gone over that a billion times today. Listen to our other Bama Central podcast, All Things Bama, with Katie Wyndham and Austin Hannon, and listen to Blue Collar Unplugged with Jacob Pickle, Blake Byler, and Matthew Gibson, the basketball boys, bringing you the students' perspective each and every week. We appreciate all of our partners on BamaCentral.com. We love being a part of the BamaCentral.com broadcasting network. Follow my man Chris Walsh, my boss, at Riding Walsh on the Twitter machine. I'm at Joe Gaither6, and this was another edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.